Bullies of Reddit, why were you a bully in school? Don't forget. Some of them are still bullies today, unfortunately. Ran into a bully from my HS a while back. And 18 years later, he's still a bully. Facebook has proven to me that my old bullies are still total assholes. A few have found Jesus and think that posting Bible quotes means that they no longer need to remember throwing garbage and insults. At home, my parents were constantly fighting. Instead of learning friendship and love, I learned anger and resentment. I brought that to school with me. Since I was bigger than average, I could shove the other kids around and there wasn't much they could do about it. I enjoyed it. It was a sadistic power trip. When you're big for your age as a child, it's a huge advantage. I think as you get into adulthood, the playing field evens out a bit more. But back then I could do whatever I wanted and nobody short of an adult could stop me. Power like that goes to your head. Doubly so when you're just a kid. I was little and it was just fun. And I knew if I was picking on someone, I wasn't going to be the next guy people decided to pick on. I wasn't a hardcore bully though, so I'm sure other people have more reasoning. But for the short time I spent doing it, there wasn't much reason. I am a human being. I consider nothing that is human alien to me, said the Roman playwright Publius Terentius Afer. When I was a kid, I got picked on a lot by other kids in my school. Out of curiosity, what were some of the reasons you bullied others? The Roman playwright Publius Terentius Afer. I just can't put my finger on it. Nerd. He's a nerd. Get him. Yes. I admit it. I was a real bookworm. I was secretly gay. Totally insecure about it. Had a sharp sense of humor and found that if I used it preemptively against others. That sounds like the guy who used to call me and my nerd friends F-gots all the time and generally make our lives hell in middle school. We looked him up on Facebook recently and he is now flamboyantly gay these days. As someone who was bullied from time to time, maybe I could shed some light. When I was about 5-6, there was this kid named Anto in our school. Now Anto was a big guy. For a 6-year-old anyway. So Anto used to play with me. This consisted of us playing wrestling. Skinny little me versus big ol' Anto. I never used to agree to it, but he would force me and beat the living shit out of me by sitting on me, punching me, pulling my hair. You name it. Throughout elementary school I would try to distance myself from him. Fast forward to senior year of high school. Anto and I get assigned to the same class. We both started talking a bit and he had totally changed. After he opened up a bit, I asked him about how he used to bully me and he said he never really realized what he did was wrong. He thought it was all fine. Only now, after thinking back on it, did he realize he had been bullying me. Now Anto and I take college classes together and we get along pretty good. I was one of these bullies who said nasty things about people. I'd always try and do it in a funny way. But some of the stuff I said was downright horrible. Didn't realize quite how vile I was until I was older. And looking back at how I acted just makes me cringe hard. I suppose the main reason I did it was a lack of self-confidence. I'd be mean to other people to deflect the attention from myself. Because I always saw myself as a pretty big target for other bullies. It's sad but true. I was a coward and a horrible pig. Open bracket. But I like to think I'm better now. I try and stick up for the underdogs and hope they have my back too. Never thought of it as bullying. Never thought I was a bully. Having been at both sides of the same sort of situation. I should have seen it in myself. I was young and arrogant. I was a very angry little girl. My older sister and mother were mean, critical women. Then when I went to school, I was also bullied often myself. I just recycled it onto other kids with all the imaginative cruelty I could muster. I used them as practice and eventually got good enough to fight back against my own bullies. The day I stopped picking on other people was the day I learned I could fend for myself. A kid tried to pour a carton of milk on me. And I grabbed it and threw it back in his face. I'll never know how much I might have hurt the kids I redirected my anger onto. Though I have a pretty good idea. And it isn't knowledge I enjoy living with. I'm so sorry. Reddit. I have to begin by saying I am really goddamn sorry. In preschool, I punched a girl in the stomach when we were collecting our coats and shoes because she asked politely to play with me and my friend. She was crying. But I didn't feel all that much remorse. She was a gypsy. And I had just been put into the public system while listening to my dad rave about how the gyppers are ruining our country. I see her when I visit my hometown. And there are not enough words to express the shame I feel when I have to look down because I can't let my eyes meet hers. F-king hell. Dad. Blaming you for this one. Why does everyone feel inclined to comment on how they weren't a bully and that they were some kind of hero? I would like to hear from the people the question was addressed to, please. It was a way to distract everyone from the fact that I was gay. At the time I thought I was just having fun. But now I know I didn't want anyone to realize I never had a girlfriend. Never had dates and couldn't stop staring at the guys during basketball, wrestling, football, track practice. Another related question is trolls of the internet gaming. Why are you a troll griefer edit? Question mark. Edit. Full stop. One of my friends was huge for his age and he used to bully the bullies. He said he wanted to defend people who can't defend themselves. You should really be posting this in our cringe epics. They're the new generation of bullies and you might get some insight there. I am sorry but I do not forgive you for the pain, terror and self-loathing that permeated me during the happiest years of my life. I wish I could say that your tormenting made me a stronger man but it did not. Hence I will not be big enough to forgive. All that you managed to do is rob me of a decade of happiness. Because I'm not doing very well in school. I'm reading at a 3rd grade level. I really don't want to get left back, so when I see someone reading for fun it makes me feel that much more stupid and then I get mad. I've been having asshole fantasies about some of the other guys at school. I'm afraid of these feelings and what they might mean. It's like because I hate myself so much I got to point that hate outwards toward you. Now I'm gonna punish you physically for acknowledging my emotional problems. Of course I want to change but it's the only defense mechanism I have against deeper, more terrifying problems buried inside of me. Dear bullies. When you come into sense as an adult and want to apologize to your victim, please be aware that your victim may be long over it and living a happy life. And not be interested in dragging through the memories just so you can have closure. I was badly bullied all through school and in some of college. And I will get apologies letters, emails once in a while, even into my 40s. My main reaction is how very pathetic these former bullies seem to me because they want me to give them the forgiveness that they really need to earn for themselves by living their lives as better people. So, don't start sending note after note to your victim. Seriously. If time has passed, then we're probably not interested. Instead, live as good people and don't allow bullying to happen around you. Then you can learn to forgive yourself. Okay? Thanks. One of your victims who has long lived as just a normal person. I bullied one kid in elementary school for the sole reason that I thought it made me look cool. I ended up making the poor kid cry. I'm 32 now and it still feels horrible. I even tracked the guy down on Facebook and told him how sorry I was. I was hoping I might feel better afterwards. But that albatross is still around my neck. I bullied people because I found them annoying and or I just didn't like them. Still an asshole. Then, as a 6'4", 193, 04 cm nerd who grew up in the country, I was the anti-bully. My dad taught computers at one of my high schools and I would always go after the people who picked on the weak. This made me severely unpopular with the jocks and cool kids, but f-chem. The bullies would always go around and pick on the weak, and if I saw them I always stepped in and defended them. This is partially because I had no dignity or anything to lose. Didn't care what people thought of me and quite frankly hate people taking advantage of others. It was fun but severely limited who was my friends, but I moved around enough not to care. But FCK high school for serious. Not a bully, but a good and interesting story to share. From 4th to 6th grade I was the nerdy kid that was picked on. I would be cursed and bullied by the popular kids almost daily. The leader of the popular kids and I would clash the most. I hated his guts. It got to the point where I broke. I just couldn't take the abuse anymore. Life at home was easy and at school I got no breaks, and in my mind that bully was mainly responsible for it. I ended up going into multiple fights that day and I ended up breaking 2 of his front teeth. Many years later, after I moved away, my mom told that he came from a rough family. He had an autistic brother and that put a lot of strain on his life. Looking back, I sorta feel bad for him. I guess it's easy to join in on making fun of somebody, especially when everyone is doing it. I messaged one of my bullies years later and asked why. She had inexplicably added me on Facebook. I guess I wanted a closure of sorts. One of the people who had bullied me alongside her had apologized and I let it go after that. She got very defensive and denied it had ever happened. It's strange. Something that meant so much to me meant so little to her in the scheme of life. I have had numerous bullies. Too many. And if the opportunity arose again, I don't think I would ask about it.